Hello everybody, today I would like to explain how you can convert your .ui file from Qt Designer directly to Python code that you can load into your window as a Python class. In the recent version of Qt, there's also an option to directly load the .ui file into your code by using a QUI loader, but this may cause reliability issues, especially in Maya. On older versions of Qt Designer, this converter was built in directly into Qt Designer. But for some reason this doesn't work anymore. This was visible here. And now we get an error like this. So we can't use the built-in functions anymore. The solution is not that well documented and it's not user-friendly at all. So I've created a bunch of bash scripts for you to make it as easy as possible. This code will work if you have Python 3 with the PySide module installed, or if you have Maya installed. Let's first do it manually through the command line. So we save out our UI file, which I have here, window.ui, and let's convert it into a Python file. To convert it manually, we need to do this in our command line. So let's start by opening our command line. Press start and type command prompt. Then you get a window like this. The exact command you need can be found back via the link in the description. It's going to be called CMD converter Python. We also have a CMD converter Maya if you were to use Maya. In here you can see that my first line is a path to my scripts folder of Python 3.8. Make sure this is your specific path to your Python 3.8 folder as well. So check this. And then on the second line you can see an absolute path to my .ui file that we need to convert. So in my case, my .ui file is here. So I copy the path from here and paste it between these double quotation marks in the file. Then I'll make sure that my file name is correct and my extension is correct. This is all correct. And now we can just copy this, paste it in the command line and press enter. The resulting code that it returns is our Python code. So now we can copy this code, paste it directly into a Python file. This code will be loaded directly into a code I already prepared, which is just a window that opens and loads this code in as a widget. And now if you run it, like so, we can see our .ui file converted to a Python class in this window. Perfect. And the same thing goes for the Maya converter. So if we were to open this code again, check if this is your correct path to your Maya folder, to your binary bin folder of Maya. For me it's Maya 2020. We can also use Maya 2018 or 17 or 19. And then the second line, on the second line again your absolute path to your .ui file. Let's see if this works as well. I'm again gonna check if this is correct. I paste my path between the quotation marks, like so. Copy this code and paste it in the command line. And like this, we get again our resulting Python code. We copy this, and here we're gonna paste it again in our Python file. Press Ctrl S, and now let's see if it runs in Maya as well, right? First, we're gonna change our execution to Maya. I need to make sure it's running in Maya in my main code, not standalone, just to be sure. Now let's open our Maya and let's run our code. And ta-da! It also runs perfectly fine in Maya. But you might also notice that we have a lot of other bad files right here. So bad files are just the command line commands, but in an automatic one-click way, right? So we made other versions as well. So we made an automatic Python converter and two automatic Maya converters. This does the code that we just done manually, but then with the one click of a button. You might also notice that I also noted down the versions in the titles of these scripts. What this means is this is the version of compiler it will use. When you look back at the codes that you copied from the compiler just now, you can see it's compiled with this specific version of the compiler. version 5.15 may cause compatibility issues with older versions of Maya. I had that issue before, so please be aware that if none of your text is loaded into your UI, please use version 5.12. That's the only reason why it's in there. Let's see how we can use this. So first off, before we can use it, we need to make sure that our paths are again correctly configured. So for this, we right click on this and press edit. And then we got a window again like this. Now our first path is again to our Python 3.8 scripts folder, to our PySide2 UIC, UI compile exe file. So make sure this is your correct folder again to your Python folder. Starting from the second link, it does need to be between quotation marks. Now, the second path is the input path. So our input file is the window.ui file. So let's double check this again. You can shift right click in Windows and do copy as path. That's a nice hint for you guys. So copy this and paste this here. Ctrl V like this, so this is now correct. And then using these files, it automatically outputs a file. So now we want to say, where do we want to output our window.py file? So it automatically compiles it into a Python file without any copy pasting. So let's say we want to do it, we want to have the result in our same directory. So we again copy this directory, copy as path, shift right click, paste it here and just change the extension to py. Now let's save this. So Ctrl S for file save. Double click this one and now you should see the result being compiled at the right. So it's done. And if you were to look into this code, you can just remove this code, close this window, open it in our PyCharm. You can see it's compiled by version 5.15, that's alright, and all the code is correctly compiled. So with one click of the button, you've compiled your file. I also have the files for Maya, so this is completely the same with the same output, but instead of going to the Python 3.8 folder, it goes to your Maya 2020 or whatever version you have. Maya API, this needs to be between quotations, then the thing it needs to execute, your input file, and then your output file. So with one click of the button, we can compile this automatically. The last method I want to show you is our bulk conversion script. So this is a bit more tricky, but what it does is, if you, for example, have all your UI files in one specific folder like this, and you want to convert them with one button click, all of them, your whole folder, you can do it using one of these three batch files. Two Maya versions, one 5.12, one 5.15, and then the standalone Python version. So I'm going to use the standalone one again. Right click and press edit. Now this is a bit more tricky if you want to put it that way. The only thing that you need to take in consideration is your Python folder is correctly linked. So again, Python 3.8, just like the last two scripts. And then you have two variables at the top, your origin folder and your destination folder. So for now, let's keep this the same folder. So we want to look into this folder, right? We're gonna copy this path and paste it into here. Like so. And then our output folder, our destination folder is also the same path. What this script will do is, it will loop over every file in the path that has a .ui extension and do the compilation on those files. Let's see how it goes. And voila, for every .ui file we have a .python file. And if we were to open this to prove that it worked, so I'll close this one and move this one here, you can see everything works perfectly fine. This also happens with the Maya in both versions, so I can show you that if you wish as well. Let's open the Maya one. I'll do it with the 5.12, just because. Copy the path of our origin folder, paste the new path, and then our destination folder we also want to have in the same location. Then we need to check our Maya API on the correct path. Yes, Maya 2020, I have this on my PC. Oh yeah, and also check this path if you're using the Maya scripts. Now let's do this as well. Pom, 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 pom. And here we go. It's all compiled and ready to go. As you can see, it's using 5.12 and everything is well done. So the reason why we have the option to choose a different destination folder is purely because of workflow reasons, right? Most of the time your .ui files ain't gonna be in the script folder itself. It's gonna be in a separate resource folder or like Qt designer files. It's gonna be in this folder. So if we're gonna move these files all in our Qt designer folder, they're all here. This would be our origin folder, right? But then we want to automatically have the compiled Python classes in the correct folder. So we want to have them in here in the UI folder, in the UI module of the script. So let's remove these, and this has to be our destination folder. So now every time we run this script by double clicking, done, the result will automatically be copied in the correct folder. And you don't have to worry about coupling them over manually, overwriting them. It's just updating to the latest version right here. Now another option you have in the script is if you want the command line to close automatically, you can just comment this line out by doing double columns before it. And now if I run the script, you can see that the command line closes automatically and the files are updated. Once again, like this, plunk, the files are here. So again, all these files can be found back on my GitHub via the link in the description. If you have any questions, please note them down in the description. I'm more than happy to help. Also, my sources that I used for this are also in the description. They're incredibly helpful, so if you have other questions, you can also refer back to these. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something.